Hello everybody! I feel so grateful and excited to be making a new video today! The Classic Cinemac has really missed making video reviews because I will be honest, this has been a very occupied and busy summer for me. I've been working on this big project which I will reveal at the end of the video, as well as some channel changes that I am planning to make for the Classic Cinemac. But other than that, I just feel so happy to be back here. I missed each and every one of y'all. I did not mean to, have this huge disappearance once again. But when summer comes, there's always something that's going on. But nevertheless, I feel so grateful to be just making another video tonight. And I might as well spend this video comeback by talking about some new Criterion movies I have gotten. So let's get on to it! The first movie I would love to talk about in my Criterion Collection video today is In a Lonely Place with Humphrey Bogart and directed by Nicholas Ray. This is a film that I really enjoy. This is the Criterion DVD edition set, and it is a film that I really enjoyed. I first saw this movie in my Film History 2 class. We were studying film noir, and this film is just a new edition of a film noir because it doesn't have all of the normal traits of what a film noir film usually has, but this is a movie that just goes in depth of Hollywood post-World War II, since this came out in 1950. And this was also the first film that Humphrey Bogart did outside of Warner Brothers, if I'm not mistaken. This movie is by Columbia Pictures, and Bogart had already ended his partnership with Warner Brothers Studios, especially with films like The Maltese Falcon, Casablanca. So when Bogart was going to Columbia Pictures to make In a Lonely Place, this was a big success for him. Bogart plays a very conflicted screenwriter. He has a very tempered, hot attitude towards other people and situations, and then he gets accused of a murder. He has to prove himself innocent. It's a movie that is very emotionally intense, and it's mysterious. I love this movie very much, and it looks amazing on Criterion DVD. So this is the cover of In a Lonely Place, and if you open the DVD, you get the DVD copy and the booklet with Bogart himself. Highly recommend this movie if you have not checked it out already. The next film I am so excited to talk about in my Criterion Collection list is War and Peace by Sergei Bondarchuk. This film came out in 1966 to 1967. The reason why I mentioned those 2 years is because, in fact, this is a 4-part film series, because this film is split into 4 parts, and in total it's about 7 to 8 hours long. And once you start watching this movie, your 7 to 8 hours will never be wasted once you actually see every single event of this 4-part film series. This is by Soviet director Sergei Bondarchuk, and this came out during the Cold War in the 60s. And the thing is that Bondarchuk wanted to outcompete Hollywood from the US, so he begged the Soviet Union to basically beg him to make this film adaptation of Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace. He decided to go all out with his budget, the costume design, the set design, the battle scenes, and his hard work really paid off, because each and every film of this series, it's just amazing, beautiful, and great for cinema, because the battle scenes are amazing. The music is just so wonderful. All the actors are fantastic in their role, and when I rewatch this film, I never get bored. It's also nice to hear, the Russian language and reading the English subtitles, and it's just cinema at its greatest, and Bondarchuk was one of the greatest directors of his time in the 60s. And if you just look at the cover, it's very beautiful. It's artistically amazing, this cover of War and Peace. And when you open it up, it's split into 2 Blu-ray discs, because you have 2 films in one disc and the other 2 in the second disc. And actually, instead of a booklet, hold on for a second, you actually get a poster of the film itself from the Criterion Collection. So if you ever get this film on Criterion Blu-ray, your money is worth it. And this is one of the best films that Criterion has on its list. It's also one of the greatest films to watch if you ever want to study Russian literature or Leo Tolstoy film adaptations. This movie is just amazing in every way, which is why I highly recommend War and Peace by Sergei Bondarchuk. The third film I am so glad to share for my Criterion Collection video is High and Low by Akira Kurosawa. I do not know what else to say about this film because I love this movie so much by Kurosawa. It's up there with Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, Rashomon, Ran, Sanjuro. And although this film is not a samurai film, this is basically a mystery drama by Kurosawa and Toshiro Mifune. So this movie has literally one of the most emotionally intense performances ever put by the actors, especially with Toshiro Mifune. And it also has just an engaging screenplay that just keeps you on the hook when you watch this film. So you're wondering what this film is about. So Toshiro Mifune plays Gondo. He is this very successful businessman until one day one of his employees has a son that gets kidnapped by this kidnapper. This kidnapper eventually realizes that he has kidnapped the wrong son, and it's up to Toshiro Mifune to get that son back and for the Japanese police to investigate this whole kidnapping that happened. And High and Low is a movie that is very reminiscent of films like Parasite, especially with Parasite when Bong Joon-ho talked about the economic inequality between Koreans. But this film came out in 1963, and it's talking about, you know, the difficulties of what some Japanese people went through after World War II and some of the economic inequalities among the Japanese society of the 60s. So it has a lot of commentary, but it's not necessarily a political film. It's more of this mysterious drama heist in a way, and it's a film that is just entirely worth it. So this is the Criterion Blu-ray cover, and it's got Toshiro Mifune on the phone. And once you open it, you get the booklet and you got the disc, and it's one of the best films to ever own on Criterion Blu-ray, especially with the special features that you get from Akira Kurosawa's interviews and his inspirations behind High and Low. That is another reason why I love owning this movie on Criterion Blu-ray. The last film I'm about to speak about is a movie that I'm very thankful to own on Criterion Blu-ray. This is also a movie that means so much to my heart because of how funny, energetic, and heartfelt this film is. And this has to be Rushmore by Wes Anderson. I do not know what else to say about Rushmore. I love this movie so much. This came out in 1998, and this was Wes Anderson's second film after Bottle Rocket back in 1996. So this movie means a lot to me because of how much I am able to relate to the character of Max Fisher, played by Jason Schwartzman. Max Fisher and I mean, we both wear glasses. Our names are Max, very similar. And I guess we both have this geeky, nerdy attitude to life because in this movie, Max Fisher, played by Schwartzman, is this high school kid who basically just wants to prove to kids that he is the smartest person ever. He wants to make them believe that he can solve equations, he can start off clubs, and he wants to gain the attention of everyone in Rushmore Academy. He eventually becomes friends with Bill Murray in the film, and they both have a feud about their teacher who they have a crush on, played by Olivia Williams. Rushmore is a movie that is so quirky, funny, energetic, and heartfelt, and it has a lot of really good messages about life, about how to prove your self-worth, and what it really means to just be you, even if society can just be very quirky and awkward in general. This is a film that actually came out in 1998, and when it was released in that year, this film was not a big hit. Wes Anderson's first two films were not big hits because he was just beginning as a director, and people really did not know how to think of his style of quirky, symmetry, likable stuff, and He struggled to know whether or not he wanted to still stick with film until he made the Royal Tenenbaums in 2001. But nevertheless, Rushmore was still a success among the critics, and audiences eventually made a cult following of this film for years to come, and it was eventually added to the National Film Registry in 2016. So this is the Criterion cover of Rushmore. This was also Jason Schwartzman's very first feature film because he got the audition from Wes Anderson when Schwartzman auditioned. And Schwartzman and Anderson eventually became very good friends after filming Rushmore. So this is the cover, and when you open it up, you get the Criterion Blu-ray disc, and then you get the chapters. And then there's also this humongous poster, which is basically a map of Rushmore Academy that is hand-drawn for artistic value from the Criterion Collection. And because of how much I am talking about Wes Anderson, this is making me really excited for the French Dispatch in October, and reading the reviews has made me really excited, especially from the Cannes Film Festival and Wes Anderson's reception from Cannes, and especially for the fact that I got a new phone and I got a Wes Anderson cover on it. How much more quirky and symmetrical can you get with this dude? And those are the 4 movies that I will present to y'all in this YouTube video. It made me so happy to return from a 3-month break from YouTube, and the reason why I have been gone is for a big reason. For those of y'all who do not know, or who do know if I've told y'all, I am currently making a student film! I am so excited to come to set every day and to work on this production that I have been making since March of this year. And so when summer came, I took the summer vacation to make usage of the time that I have to continue my student film and to make this project that I've actually been wanting to make since my freshman year of college. So the student film is titled Aubrey Jankovic, and I cannot give out too many details because I'm only halfway done with my student film in production. Production has been both exciting and exhausting at the same time because not only do I have to film, but it's also been a struggle reserving places to get their approval, especially with COVID protocols. And I even had to work with schedules among my friends, with other people, depending on their availability for the filming. And that's another reason why you're probably noticing something off with the sound of my new YouTube review. And that is because I do not have my Snowball microphone with me. I've been using that Snowball microphone to record audio for my film, and I'm really hoping that my student film becomes a success. I'm a little nervous because first time learning the big ropes of production, and since my student film is so low budget, some things I don't have, like big fat cameras. I'm only using like a Sony HD camcorder and doing natural lighting, but that is the reason why I have been gone for 3 months. And for the future of the Classic Cinemax channel, I did also want to talk about how, with my student film going on, I will not be able to upload as much as I originally planned this year. I originally said from the beginning of this year that I wanted to do more movie reviews, more game reviews. But with my student film going on, it's going to take up so much of my schedule, and it's going to be really difficult for me to upload every once a week or every once a month. It's going to be really hard for me, but I just hope that each and every one of y'all stay patient. So I will say that I will take a bit of a break from movie reviews, but I will still do maybe Criterion Collection related stuff, whether I want to talk about new stuff I got from the Barnes & Noble sale this summer, or maybe even movie reviews of Criterion movies that I could recommend for each and every one of y'all. So these are just some of the minor changes coming to the Classic Cinemax, and since the title is Classic Cinemax, I do really want to use this channel to basically persuade people to find a lot of comfort and appreciation for older films, especially in this new generation of so many digital stuff and with new releases that are very different than films that you see from the 50s, 60s, 70s, it's also, you know, a really cool deal for me to talk about films that people have not really heard before, and to express my views and like why this film had inspiration from a film from the 70s. Why is it that we're not talking about these type of movies anymore? And I guess you can say it's similar to Chris Stuckman's video about how he wants to make his channel more of a film appreciation type of channel. I think I want to make this change for the Classic Cinemac. I really want to make this change because of how much I prefer Criterion artsy films, but I am excited to talk about these things maybe when the time comes, and I'm even more excited to make more Criterion related stuff because of how much I love the Criterion Collection. But nevertheless, thank y'all so much. I feel so great to be back, and I hope everyone has a fantastic week. Thank you very much, guys.